You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen gaming laptop listings, see a sleek chassis and a promise of next-gen performance, only to get a machine that throttles the moment you load a modern title? I've been there, and that hesitation is what made me dig a little deeper before hitting add to cart. The NIMO 17.3-inch FHD gaming laptop caught my eye because it claims a Ryzen 5 6600H, DDR5 memory, and a dedicated Radeon 660M, all at a price that looks more student budget friendly than a high-end desktop. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about who this laptop actually makes sense for. If you're a college student who needs a machine that can handle both a semester of coursework and the occasional fortnight session after class, the combination of a 6-core 4.5 GHz processor and 16 GB of DDR5 gives you enough headroom to run Photoshop, compile code, and still hit 60 frames per second in many esports titles at 1080p. The 17.3-inch display also doubles as a small desktop monitor, which is handy when you're pulling an all-nighter in a dorm lounge and don't want to squint at a 15-inch screen. On the flip side, if you're an avid AAA gamer who wants ultra settings in Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring 4 extended sessions, you'll probably feel the Radeon 660M hitting its ceiling fairly quickly. That GPU is geared toward 1080p medium-high settings, not the max-out experience that a dedicated RTX 3060 would provide. Heat is the first practical concern that pops up with any laptop promising sustained performance. The Ryzen 5 6600H is a power-hungry chip, and in my short testing period the laptop's dual-fan system did a respectable job keeping temps under control during a 30-minute Apex Legends marathon. Core temperatures hovered around 85 C, which is hot but not alarming, and the fan noise stayed in the low to mid 40 dB range, loud enough that you'll notice it, but not enough to drown out a headset's chat. If you're planning to game on a coffee shop table or in a shared apartment, you'll want to keep a small external fan or a cooler pad handy for those longer sessions, because the laptop does start to emit a higher-pitched whine after an hour of continuous load. Battery life is another realistic factor that often gets glossed over in marketing copy. With a 99 Wh battery, you might assume you can game for 3 or 4 hours unplugged, but the reality is a bit more modest. In real-world testing, streaming a game on Twitch while playing Valorant gave me roughly 1 hour and 20 minutes before the charger kicked in. For non-gaming tasks, web browsing, word processing, video playback, the battery stretched closer to 5 hours, which is decent for a 17-inch machine but still means you'll be tethered to a power outlet for any serious gaming session. The 100 WPD fast charging is a redeeming feature. A quick 30-minute charge pushed the battery back to around 70%, which can be a lifesaver between classes. Keyboard feel often makes or breaks a laptop for both gamers and students, and NIMO's Backlit keyboard leans toward the precision typing claim. The keys have a decent travel distance, about 1.5 mm, and the actuation feels snappy without being mushy. The RGB strip is subtle, just a single color zone, but it's bright enough to type in dim dorm rooms. I did notice a slight wobble on the bottom row after a few weeks of heavy use, which isn't a deal breaker but something to keep in mind if you're a touch typist who values a rock-solid platform. The trackpad is functional, but as with most gaming laptops, I'd still reach for an external mouse when precision aiming is required. Now, let's address the price point. Compared to building a desktop with a comparable Ryzen 5 6600H, 16 GB DDR5 and a Radeon 660M, you'd likely spend a similar amount on the components, but you'd gain the flexibility of upgrading the GPU and adding more storage later. The NIMO laptop, however, offers limitless expansion in the sense that you can add a second M.2 SSD without opening the chassis too much, and the RAM is upgradable to 32 GB if you ever need that extra headroom for video editing or heavy multitasking. If you're the type who values a portable form factor and the ability to work on the go, the laptop's weight just under 6 pounds makes it manageable on a backpack, whereas a desktop obviously stays in one place. For a student or a freelancer who can't afford a separate workstation and a gaming rig, the trade-off in raw graphics power may be worth the convenience. Practical strengths sum up to a solid all-rounder for the price. The display delivers true 1080p with good color accuracy for casual content creation, You won't see banding in Photoshop, and the 144Hz refresh rate, if you choose that configuration, provides smoother motion in fast-paced shooters. The fast charging capability and decent port selection including HDMI 2.0, USB-C with PD, and a full-size USB-A mean you can hook up an external monitor or a wired Ethernet dongle without juggling adapters. The build feels sturdy enough for daily commutes, and the inclusion of